Hello, welcome to the live stream. The kittens are being extra cute over there, so I think I will let them keep being on the screen. Please let me know if you can hear me. I also noticed that my mic has once again had the cover removed by some cats. Let me know because I had to restart things before I had to restart things. Well, Aaron had to restart things right before the stream. And so hopefully you can hear me. Okay, great. Everybody can hear me. That is lovely. Thank you. Yes, the glasses are slightly over the top, I would say. My chat is not appearing on the screen, it looks like. That's interesting. Love that for me. Someone had end of year VSP money. No, these glasses, believe it or not, I think were $7. They are prescription, but they are from firmu.com. And I think I got like buy one, get one 50% off, and they're not very expensive in the first place. So I have these, and then I also got like heart glasses, and then I got like kind of some regular glasses. It's more glasses than I need. But yeah, I've stopped buying glasses from anything but online Chinese companies at this rate because it's highway robbery what we pay in the US. So there's a greater discussion to be had about that. But am I maybe zoomed in more than I need to be? I am zoomed in more than I need to be. It was maybe too much going on there. So let me see if I can get the chat working. It is... Let's see. Why won't the chat work? Ah, there we go. Okay, chat's working now. I just sent someone some Ray-Ban Wayfarers I got cheap on eBay to goggles for you to have them released for what it's like 15% of what it would have been to do it legitimately. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I also don't have a particularly challenging prescription. So I know some of the people that get glasses at like have more trouble with the online glasses stores if they have really complicated prescriptions. I'm just straight nearsighted. My refraction is not super high. It's high enough that like I can't drive without glasses. But it isn't high enough that I am like I need the ultra thin lenses or anything like that. So anyway, and I don't have any like I don't have astigmatism. Essentially, I have a very easy prescription, so it's super easy for me to get glasses online. And I do have vision insurance, but the way vision insurance works, I mean, one, it's a scam, and two, they let you have like $150 a year for either glasses or contacts. And I do need to wear contacts now. I didn't wear contacts for a bunch of years because they're expensive, but now since I'm figure skating, I have to have them. I that's why I got contacts when I was a kid in the first place, because I like kept breaking glasses because they spin off your face, and if you try to wear that tail, I would end up with like welts across my cheek from spinning with the little sports strap on your glasses. They're just not terribly also like you need peripheral vision, and also in an aesthetic sport, goggles don't really work very well. All this to say, I started wearing contacts again when I came back to skating. And previous to that, I would just like hang on to a couple pairs a year so that I could like wear costumes, or when I was taking trapeze classes once a week. But I had Ray-Ban sunglasses re-lensed to me. Cost me nothing with my insurance. That's nice. Is the humble brag that that I don't have particularly bad eyes? I mean, I think the real humble brag would be if I don't need glasses at all, but I can survive. I will also say like the contacts are a little obviously contacts are expensive, and I also think the way that they do it in the US kind of sucks. But it since I bike to work, and in Portland, it's like rainy for 9 months of the year. Glasses do kind of suck in the rain. Like a lot of people would get like that spray that would try to like repel the rain, and you would get like all the lens coatings. But if it's like really pouring rain, no matter how many visors you on and how many lens coatings you have, you eventually get to the point where the glasses are so covered in water that it's easier to see even with your bad vision with the glasses off than it is with them on. At this exact moment, actually, it looks like possibly some power went out for some people in our neighborhood because it got suddenly very dark. So one, if I suddenly go offline, that's why the high wind has knocked out power. And two, it's super duper rainy right now. And so I am still like slightly damp from biking to get the donut for you all. So, Nathan, I knew that you meant another word, but I couldn't figure out what relensed mean. And yes, I figured it out. Yeah, exactly. Do I want my vision to be blurry with or without my glasses? That's why I like the contacts for biking in the rain. Also, when I had to wear a mask at work, because we had to wear masks at work like pretty late, like still into the early part of this year, I believe we were still wearing masks at work. And I never quite mastered the glasses plus mask situation. It would go well for a while, and then inevitably they would like fog up, and then you could like, it couldn't recover the rest of the day. So anyway, I do wear the contacts fairly often, but for my vision insurance, I get my contacts. But I thought I'd wear the fun glasses for you today because I am being the dismal science. I like how we got this far and we have not talked about the topic at all or showed you the donut. So today's donut is one delivered on bike in the epic pouring rain. It is a sour cherry cheesecake donut. So it's got a tart local cherry filling. Then it has a cheesecake topping and a graham cracker crumble crust. And you can see that it's filled on the other side. That's like in there. It looks pretty dense. Also, Aaron requested a donut. So there is a donut over there for Aaron. It's the fritter that last week we rated 5 out of 5, and I ate all of it, and Aaron only got like a couple bites. So Aaron decided time for a second donut. Rainy west side here too, but wind died down. I was really thankful actually for the e-bike because I took the e-bike to go. I had a very tight schedule this afternoon, so I had to run and get groceries and the donut like in the hour before the live stream. And so I decided to take the vroom vroom bike, and I was very thankful for the e-bike because I had like a headwind coming back the whole way, and it was starting to be like rush hour traffic, and it was dark and it was rainy. So can you all hear that? Can you hear the wind? Because it's very dramatic in here. So, what are we talking about today? We are talking about the deadweight loss of Christmas, which is a very iconic paper that an economist wrote. And it is sort of the standard reading for before winter break for economics students. And when I was a Slate advice columnist, I had someone write in about they were asking essentially for gift advice, but from an economics finance angle. And so I decided to turn it into the spin of the deadweight loss of Christmas about how like inefficient gift giving is. And man, commenters did not like that. So I decided to rile some people up over here. But I have actually been thinking about it because I don't celebrate Christmas, so I don't tend to do a lot of gift giving around this time of the year. I'm also not a particular gift giver. Like it's not like a skill I've honed, nor is it something I find particular joy in. I also like I enjoy getting gifts, but I would rather just like we all just save our money and buy the things we want to buy. And so but this year I'm trying to do a better job of it. And it's Aaron's 40th birthday, so I do birthday gifts more than I do Christmas gifts because once again, not Christian, don't celebrate Christmas. So I have a cat on my lap, by the way. I wish I had a cat cam because she's very cute, but I think she is now upside down on my lap. I wish you could see this. It's very cute, but I don't have a camera operator here for a cat cam. So I guess this is just my life now. So where was I? Oh, so anyway, I'm trying to get a little better at it, and Aaron's 40th birthday is in 11 days. And because of that, I have been doing a lot more thinking about gift giving, trying to do a better job of like Hanukkah gifts for the nibblings and stuff like that. And I have really been struck by the inefficiency of it all, which I understand on an intellectual level. I also understand that obviously like humans are not economically rational creatures, and like the wonderfulness of life is made up by relationships between humans, and gifts are an excellent way to show someone that you value them, right? Like money is an exchange of value. And so obviously, ergo, gift giving, whether or not you've spent money on it, but if you put time and thought into it, it's a way of showing that you value your relationship with someone. So it makes perfect sense that we have extended and commoditized all of these relationships into gifts. But there is this level of unnecessary stress and theater around the gift giving this time of year. One, the amount of people I know that don't celebrate Christmas, that are not Christian, that still feel compelled to participate in these secret Santas, in giving little gifts to various people in their lives because of the peer pressure, societal pressure that says that you're selfish or unreasonable if you don't participate in this, where people will draw the extrapolation that you don't value them if you don't participate in this ritual. And we've tied it to a Christian holiday, which is extra interesting because the Christian holiday isn't even like historically accurately at this time of year. They essentially stole the traditions of that pagans did around the winter solstice and attached them to, doing this in late December. And then capitalism got a hold of it. So we have like multiple levels of extrapolating what is a very human thing. Showing relationships, gift givings. This is the way humans have been forming bonds for a long time. They've been the center of diplomacy between nations and societies for a long time. But we essentially have coming and stripping this essence of tradition and ritual to mark time, passage of time, keeping onto it the majority religions, major figure, deciding to move that major figure's birthday to line up with the winter solstice. And then you have companies coming in and going, you need to get a gift for your hairdresser, your mailman, your kid's teacher, your everybody that you've ever met. You have to also participate in buying gifts, a random gift to give to play a game to give to someone who doesn't know what it is and might not have value in it. And the entire thing is all very, very inefficient from an economics perspective. Even if we take the value of it's very important for humans to have a exchange of value in their relationships and to recognize and show and build and curry favor and show love and appreciation for people in your life with gifts. The performance level that especially North America, but just generally Western societies do in service of this holiday that a lot of people don't even follow or are active in the religion or even identify as a member of the religion or never have identified as a member of the religion, is pretty wild. And even minority religions that don't celebrate Christmas, there is additionally this like capitalist gift giving idea has been put onto them, right? Like Hanukkah is like now in Western countries where, there is a large enough Jewish diaspora and there's also a lot of societal pressure around Christmas. Lots of people do Hanukkah gifts because their kids would feel left out if they don't get or exchange gifts, and even sometimes the adults, if they don't get and exchange gifts because there's so much gift giving around this. And for most children, they don't remember what they got on their 10th birthday. Like you as a grown up now, if you go back and you try to remember specifically what you got on your 10th birthday, unless it was something you were asking for a really long time or a particularly big gift, generally you don't remember what you got. You remember the experiences and the traditions around the holiday. You remember the quality time, let's say, with your family, or maybe you don't remember good things about the holiday because it isn't a good thing in your family. But it's this real acceleration that we've had into who we give gifts and the pressure around giving gifts. It's not good for our mental health. You should see the people that bear the load of household responsibilities, right? Even if they delight in giving gifts, generally it is women in households that are doing like the burden of the shopping and the organizing and the wrapping and the decorating and the coordinating and the making lists. And the amount of pressure that we put on that, even aside from the financial pressure that a lot of families feel around this time of year to give the right gifts to their family and their kids and make sure that people are recognized in this way. And all of this to say, in economics, we know that when something is gifted to you, you often value it less as a gift than the actual sticker price value of it is. So like, even if I put all this research and thought into getting you a pair of, compression socks, which it's like I thought of the least sexy gift, but like, let's say, you really, really thought about it. This person flies a lot and you care about their health. And so you got them a pair of compression stockings, but they're like, you got them in their favorite color or whatever. And it's meant to show like, hey, I recognize that this was valuable for you, blah, blah, blah. And it also shows I care about your health. And I was thinking of you and I got it in your favorite color. And you get them this pair of compression stockings. If those compression stockings are $30 when you buy them, that person will probably value it lower than the ticket price of it. This is why it's easier for us to give away things that we receive as gifts than it is for things we buy ourselves. There's also something called the endowment effect, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. So we've now created deadweight loss in the inefficiency of this transaction. Someone is getting something that we've lost value. That's the deadweight loss, right? We've lost value in this transaction. The market value is higher than the person's perceived value once they get it as a gift. Additionally, if we both kept our money and we both bought the thing that we had the highest utility for, like you didn't want compression stockings, you wanted compression tights. And instead of someone giving $30 to the other person and you getting those compression stockings, you bought yourself the compression stockings. You each kept your money. You didn't exchange a $25 gift with that person and you didn't exchange a $30 gift, and you each just took that money and you bought the thing you had the highest utility for. That would be more efficient for the economy. And you would think that like economists love it, right? When you spend money, like famously Keynes said that even a broken window is good for the glass man, right? Like, wars are great for economies, even though they are a net negative for the world, right? Like, everybody agrees wars are bad. And I hope everybody agrees. Most people agree wars are bad. But wars are usually very good at stimulating economies in the short term, right? Because you have to produce more things. You have, lower unemployment, all of these things during wars because you've got to produce missiles and artillery and uniforms, and you have to recall people to the workforce because you are sending people out to war. This is the same thing. It's like, we can make this argument that, like, spending more money in the economy, like, the small businesses, a lot of them break even for the first time in the year during the Christmas shopping period, so to speak. Q4 is where those numbers for retail businesses really start to add up. And we are a consumer-driven economy. So, like, obviously it's great that we have all these people pushing money into the economy. But if you want to picture this in terms of deadweight loss, I think this is easier to understand than looking at the graph charts of deadweight loss, because that's kind of like a niche economics thing. I want you to just think about all the $5 and $10 Starbucks gift cards that get handed around in offices, by dentists, whatever it might be, at the holidays, that go unused, that sit in drawers. And I feel like that is a good representation of deadweight loss, because the value of that gift card is not even worth exchanging. And particularly in North America, I'm going to speak to North America, there is a large perception that giving cash is impersonal. It is an impersonal gift because you didn't put effort or thought into it. You didn't think about what the person wants. But cash would be a far more efficient option because it says, I trust that you know what you would want to spend this on. I want to give you a gift to maybe fill my societal obligation, but to show you that I care. And I want you to spend this or save it as has most utility to you. But we view this as impersonal. So the next step down from that, you're like, oh, I want to personalize it a little, and I don't want to give them cash because it's gaudy or it's impersonal, whatever it might be. So you get them a gift card. And like on the highest level, maybe you think really hard about a gift card to somewhere that you think that they'll use, right? Something that you think they'll hold great value of. Maybe a restaurant they've been wanting to try, or a somewhere they're always window shopping at, whatever it might be. And then there's a step down on that where you get an even more impersonal level of gift card, which is that you get them a Starbucks gift card or an Amazon gift card or a Target gift card, because those are almost fungible, right? They can be passed on, and often they do get. I don't know how many $5 Starbucks gift cards I've re-gifted, and probably has been re-gifted on once more. I used to work at Starbucks in a mall and I worked there over the holiday season, and I gotta say, I got really good at making $5 gift cards. Incredible at it, because it was essentially the thing to get when you felt like you needed to give a gift, but you didn't know enough about the person. Okay, I will say, so there's some good comments, and I'm going on a rant, so I really want to check in on that. B says, I'm the only person on my team at work who didn't sign up for the Secret Santa, so I feel you. We didn't have a Secret Santa, so I'm very glad, because that would be exactly the kind of thing that I would be, like, terrible at. Winter says, I've been trying to push thrifted and handmade Christmas gifts with our family. I think that's great. But the flip side of that is, maybe you don't have to give Christmas gifts. One of the things is like, oh, it's so great to have, like, to put the effort and the time and the energy into it. But I do wonder if sometimes the, like, we're going to do handmade only, blah, 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 within families adds pressure. Because often what ends up happening is it shifts the burden onto specific people. to do that work, especially if you're doing it within family units, right? So quite often it's whoever's responsible for the household admin is the one that is doing all of the work around handmade. And they tend to be more labor intensive. So it's beautiful and great, but this pressure of like, you have to get presents for every single person and you have to come up with a handmade gift for everyone. It, in fact, like, it's very inefficient, right? Like, you've got to like think of a little thing to knit for everybody or whatever. Unless you're doing it at economies of scale. And what often ends up happening is that it puts even more stress and pressure on than sometimes buying something of an equivalent value is. B says, I distinctly remember getting a different Buffy DVD every Christmas and birthday. I still have them. That's pretty great. I got a Shirley Temple DVD every Christmas and birthday from my Yaya, and she's gone now, so I can say this. I did watch Shirley Temple, but I often felt like those VHS tapes that I got of Shirley Temple because they were VHS, of every like Christmas and birthday was her reliving her childhood through me. But I've watched a lot of Shirley Temple because of it. Shirley says, I hate gift giving too. I find it so wasteful. Every time I get a gift, I end up not using it. I think the thing that's hard for me is that some people are so good at it. And I get gifts that I delight in and I use all of the time. And then I feel bad that I am not as good at it as they are. And every time I try to find like tips on how to be better at it, they're like, spend all year noticing what the person wants. And like, I feel like this is particularly hard with my nibblings because like I only see them like 3 times a year. I don't know enough about them. They're so young that they're like changing, their interests change so fast. I think I'm just going to turn into the aunt that gives all of them cash. You know, there's always one. There's always one that's like, I give you cash and you know to expect the cash. I can give them a check so that they have to learn how to deposit a check. Maybe my mother-in-law will finally give in if it's trendy. We got her to commit to morning disposable at least. Wait, morning disposable? What is morning disposable? Maybe I'm missing this. That's why I try to make gifts. I've been making homemade candy, cookies, and tea. We also have a price limit in our family and we emphasize needs. I do like that. I think the price limit is very helpful. I also will say, I think consumables are really good. I think especially when you're an extended family, the temptation to give people stuff, and then especially if they have young kids, it's just more stuff in their house, right? And like that kind of challenge, I feel like is, yeah. Ask a Manager ran the story about the engineer's Christmas again last month. Everyone who wishes to participate brings a $15 gift card. The gift cards are placed in a bowl. Everyone removes one gift card. End of exchange. I love this because it's very efficient and it's also insanely inefficient. It would be so much better for everyone to just keep their $15 instead of going to a store, purchasing a $15 gift card, bringing it into the office, and then getting a different $15 random gift card. I do think handmade gifts show a ton more thought. But one of the problems is, how do you have the thought? Like, I think one of the challenges with handmade gifts is like, you might not know what they like. I don't know. Especially when it comes to stuff like office mates and things like that. I actually love doing Secret Santas. That means I only have to focus on one person. But I also work in a small spa. Yeah, but what if you just didn't have to get a gift for anyone? But I do think a Secret Santa is good if it doesn't come with the expectation of also giving gifts. Because sometimes Secret Santas are in addition to giving everybody gifts. We chose not to do the stealing gifts this at work this year. What a relief. Oh yeah, with white elephant parties. I can't remember. It's been years since I've done a white elephant, so I can't really remember that. Sophie says, I like buying gifts slowly throughout the year and then forgetting to give them at Christmas. I will say I was smart and I bought some gifts ahead of time. And I forgot what they were. I remembered where I put them because we don't live in a very big house. But I had zero recollection of what they were. I send them out for Valentine's Day 2 years later. That's pretty great. I do agree. Just give me a lift for fuck's sake. Do you really think I should give them a check? I will say, I work with a lot of 18 to 22-year-olds, and they do not know what a check is. Some of them don't even know how to address an envelope because they they don't learn business mailing anymore. I was really blown away by how many of them didn't know where you put the address and the stamp and everything on the envelope. And these were not international students. These were students that grew up here. And I guess it makes sense. They probably don't send a lot of letters anymore as kids. And, once you start getting to the mail sending stage, now it's older and it's only when you have something to deal with health insurance or your bank or whatever. ADHD Queen says, stalk their social media. Yeah, these kids are too young for social media, so I feel like cash. Now a lot of kids are going to be too young for social media because Australia has banned it for 16 and under, so. B said, I had to explain to a 24-year-old recently that they couldn't put a single 5-cent stamp on an envelope and send it out like that. Yeah, that was the other thing. I was having to explain the concept of forever stamps, but then I was having to explain that there's forever postcard stamps and forever, envelope stamps, but not all stamps are forever stamps. I spent so much time in my last job validating addresses, I can't even. We do a secret Santa between my husband's siblings and siblings and the in-laws in the family because everyone's love language is gift giving, except my husband who only participates because it makes his family happy. That's me for all of these things. I absolutely do get the joy of when you get a gift right and you give it and it is the right thing for them, but I'm not very good at making that happen consistently. I'm bad at buying stuff for myself that I know I would value and enjoy. So I have even more trouble doing it for other people because I spend a lot of time second guessing well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I won't. This isn't the right thing to fit that. Now, me trying to predict how someone else would use or value this is so much harder for me. I'm just so bad. I just want to give everybody cash. I actually would prefer to give everyone nothing. And that isn't because I don't like them. I think that they should just save their money and no one gives anyone anything. This is the economics degree talking. Although I think I was always like this. ADHD Queen says, cash it is then. I do have to go to an actual bank to get it out, which is very funny because I'm working on a piece right now that is all about cash stuffing. And the cash stuffer that I interviewed for the piece, she goes to the bank she's 25 and she goes to the bank multiple times a week with her little teller slips for her exact denominations and asks for pretty cash and everything. And I was chatting with the economist, the older economist that I interviewed for this story. And he was like, I don't remember the last time I went into a bank to get out cash. And I was like, yeah, me too. Consumables are great. I really can't stand when people give me random stuff like thick Christmas socks. Give me cookies. See, my thing is I love consumables, but I'm vegan and I don't like chocolate. So that ends up eliminating a lot of them. Sometimes we'll end up getting gifts that are meat, and then we're just busy trying to find someone who can eat it. If it's chocolate, I can give it to Aaron, so that works out okay. And then But I will also say that like socks, not Christmas socks, but socks are very helpful generally. And I will take socks anytime. I feel like socks are very valuable. I actually got given cat wool socks last year by Aaron's parents, by my in-laws. And it was so sweet because this is good gift giving, and this is what I'm bad at. Months earlier, I had talked about how I was like, I needed new socks, and I was like stressing. And then she asked me to like describe what the socks, and it was like, oh, they need to be merino because they like keep your feet warm even when they get wet and they don't smell, so I can like travel in them. And I also kind of want them to be cute. And anyway, she got me cat merino socks, and I was like, how did you know? And she's like, oh yeah, you mentioned this a couple months ago. And I was like, that's... See, and I also say she, because even though it came from Aaron's mom and dad, I know that it was his mom that purchased it, which once again goes back to the commonly gendered household dynamics of where the mental load falls for all of this gift giving. And I feel like this is like a further inequity in household labor that happens in a lot of households, especially households with a lot of kids, is that there's the expectation that like the mom is the one in charge of all this. It's not, obviously, this is generalization, but far more of this mental load ends up falling to the woman in the family. B says it's always a woman. Yeah, exactly. But why is this genderized? Why? There's literally no reason this should be genderized. Shirley says, you would be so unhappy if you were in my Christmas exchange at work. 80% of people buy chocolate. Exactly. This is why this is not valuable to me. Although I will say when I was a kid, there'd be like some candy around the holidays. I went to public school, so it wouldn't be like Christmas explicitly, but it was pretty Christmassy. And everybody would get a bunch of chocolate. And what I would do, we had those like little desks where you could like store stuff in the back of them behind your books. Like they were like closed at the back. So since I didn't like chocolate, I would get all my chocolate and I would hide it in the back of my desk. And then once everybody had eaten their chocolate quickly because they liked chocolate, the market value of that chocolate would go up. I also did this with Christmas candy or with Halloween candy. So here was the thing. The market value would go up. So you could exchange those chocolates for much more valuable things once the scarcity had increased for the chocolate. So I was always relatively smart about this. ADHD Queen says, I tried cash stuffing. I failed miserably. Yeah, it's not my thing, but I see why it works for people. I absolutely see why it works for people. It's, and I think for people for which cash is very tangible and they don't like to break it, it has a lot of value. The piece is a little bit about how maybe the trend of cash stuffing is a reaction to the increasing credit card balances. And it's sort of like a rebrand for the Gen Z, because a lot of people doing it are Gen Z. It's kind of a rebrand of classic budgeting methods for Gen Z. Okay, whoa, this is important. What is cash stuffing? Cash stuffing is the envelope method, but it is particularly cash stuffing kind of refers to the content that a lot of people make. This is a cash stuffing envelope actually with some things in here. So you'll have little envelopes where you put your cash, and a lot of people will carry around these like cute wallets of different types and carry their cash in them. And the cash stuffing is a type of content that is often very aesthetically pleasing, and people will put their cash in their little envelopes. Some people even use fake cash, actually. And there's all sorts of like inside terms for it. Some people do like ASMR style, so they won't even talk during it. They'll just like crumple the bills and the clicking and clacking of their calculator and stuff like that. Angela says, cash stuffing makes me nervous. I would be afraid of losing the money. This anecdote did not make we talked about losing the money in the piece, but this anecdote didn't make the piece, so I'll say it on the live stream. So one thing I always think about, so I worked at a grocery store, so you could cash your paycheck at the grocery store. And so like when I worked behind the service counter, like Fridays, every other Friday, it was like my whole job was just cashing people's paychecks, which was very nice because, we didn't take a fee like you would at like a check cashing place and for our own employees. And it was very affordable for other people to check their cash there. A lot of people use grocery stores essentially as banks. And we had a lot of people that worked there that also would like send money back home. And so we had a TransUnion and MoneyGram counter too. So then they'd turn the cash around from their paychecks and immediately mail it home. So you could kind of get it all done there. It's the bank of the unbanked. Anyway, I worked at a grocery store and I worked late on a Friday, 10 or 11 p.m., I think, and it was a epic snowstorm. So normally I bike to work, but I had walked to work. And it wasn't like a super far walk. It was like a mile to work. So it wasn't super duper far, but it was like far enough in the snow. And I had cashed my paycheck on that at the end of my shift, and I lost it in the snow on the way home. And I never found it. I like went back and looking for it in the dark, and I just lost it was either weeks or 2 weeks of pay. I can't remember which grocery store this was, so I either got paid every 2 weeks or every week. But I just lost hundreds of dollars just in the snow, and there's no recourse because I'd already cashed it. Oh, what were you commenting as me, Aaron?
I retyped my comment.
Gwyneth says, I tried cash stuffing and they don't let me cook the turkey anymore. That's pretty good. Is it Gwyneth or Queeneth? Oh my God, yes. My husband has gotten better, but I know what I'm getting every year. I can't remember a birthday or Christmas where I didn't know what he was getting me. I mean, is that so bad though? I feel like one of the best things, especially for people with combined finances, that you can get for a holiday or a birthday is just permission to spend money you wanted to spend anyway on like a little bit of a splurge. Like, you want a nice camera and you want to buy it. You know exactly what you want. But yes. Angela says, I would have been crying so hard. I will say at this time I was a teenager and it was like living with my parents still. And, it wasn't make or break my finances. But anyway, I'm still upset about it. And this is one of the many reasons I don't like having cash. Cash stuffing is when you use the envelope system and only pay with cash. A lot of people do cash stuffing now, in addition to digital. So they'll cash stuff like fake money, like prop money. But a lot of them, I kind of asked, like, what do you do? Because a lot of places are cashless now, right? Like, you can't pay with cash on an airplane when you fly at the holidays, right? For your snack or whatever on board. And a lot of them will have like a debit card that they hold on to. And then that they always leave a buffer in their account. And then if they can't pay with cash, they'll take that cash and deposit it back in the bank, and use their debit card. I feel like that can work well. A lot of them will actually save the money in like a high yield account, and then they'll use prop cash or like little markers inside the envelope to actually show what they're saving. So Angela says, I like watching cash stuffing videos, but I won't do it myself. I think anything that makes budgeting and talking about finance more accessible, and particularly makes it accessible to, I think what I like about cash stuffing is there is a lot of range of like budgets and incomes and ages in it. And so it's easy to find someone that you identify with. And I think anything that breaks down some stigmas around talking about money, even if you are just consuming the content, but you're not actually following the cash stuffing methods, I think are great. I am all digital, and I love the envelope system, and I love zero-based budgeting, which is what I do, but I use YNAB for it. Now I have to describe what the envelope method is. It's quite simply, it's just separating your expenses into envelopes. So you'd have like an envelope for rent, an envelope for groceries. Some people will use the envelope method for every single category, with or without cash. And then some people will only use the envelope method for like discretionary categories or categories that are easy to do with cash. I recommend this for people that have like impulse control discretionary categories. Groceries are great because like if you only bring cash to the grocery store, you're only going to spend what you have in cash. This is also good for things like if you go out to bars, for dining out. Then like envelope method is pretty good. The real thing that's great about the envelope method with cash is that if there's no cash in the envelope, you're gonna have to pull money from an envelope and another envelope, and you really have that mental idea of like, I'm taking this out of this other category, and it makes the trade-offs very tangible for people, which I think it sometimes with online budgeting apps where maybe you go over in one category, but you don't have to reallocate it or whatever, like especially reactive things like Mint used to be back when Mint was around. I think it can be harder for people to understand that you can't do everything when it comes to money. Like you have a budget constraint and that you can have what you want, but you're gonna have to give something else up, right? I know I already mentioned the wind and how the power might go out. I don't remember hearing that lost paycheck story. Oh my God, that's mortifying. I don't know if I ever told you. I think I was deeply upset. I also think maybe I lost it because I had a hole inside the pocket of my like winter coat. I really don't fully remember the mechanics of how this happened, but I'm pretty sure that something about it had to do with like I was wearing like a different coat than usual and I didn't know it had a hole in the pocket, and it was probably because it was like a snowstorm and I brought like my more heavy duty winter coat out. That's what I suspect it was. This was a very long time ago, so I don't remember all the details. Winter says, my partner and I don't exchange gifts. Thankfully, you agreed early in our relationship on that. I think Aaron and I are getting better at exchanging gifts, but at least we both mutually agree we're not that great at it. I do like what Aaron ended up doing was, one, Aaron often will get me some electronic thing that I've been contemplating getting, but then keep procrastinating on, like a new Kindle or whatever, and then Aaron will just get it for me, and it's great because that is the kind of thing I am very bad at making myself get, like some sort of toy or a household good. Which is, got the air fryer for my birthday this year, even though I actually got it like a month before my birthday. And I love the thing. And I think without my birthday, we may have put off getting the air fryer for quite a while. The thing with doing it for my birthday is it just eliminates me from the decision-making part. And I am the barrier to buying things. So if you take me out of that discussion, then I'd like to be surprised occasionally. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I care about being surprised. I think I enjoy being surprised, but I don't care. I'm also not very good at keeping the lid on things. So Aaron's birthday is not for 11 more days, and Aaron has gotten three presents. I'm trying this trickle method, which is when I remember, I suddenly give Aaron a present. Should we eat the donut? We have been streaming, but I can't believe how long we've been streaming for. We should eat the donut. This is Talking Dough Eating Donuts, where we talk about economics and we eat a donut. So let's do it. Ooh, I think the animation is a little broken. Okay. I don't know if that showed on the screen for you or if it just froze, but this is today's donut. This is the sour cherry cheesecake. And it has, well, one of my hairs on it, but that's not their fault. That's my fault. Okay, so it is a cheesecake, like glaze crust. And you can see how shiny it is. I mean, it's like beautifully shiny. And then this is tart cherry filling, and it's actually filled in the donut. And graham cracker crust, because it's meant to be like a cheesecake. So let's see how this goes. It's just kind of a fluffy raised donut. I expected the cherry to be like all the way through, but it's just in the middle. Tax collector is a vulture. I'm not as impressed. I think it's cuter than it tastes. There is a bit of a zing, but it's not that tart. I wanted it to be more tart. That was a whole cherry. Oh, the inside is good. I want it to be through here, though. Aaron right now has the exact same energy as the cats when they just stare at us when we're cooking in the kitchen. Aaron is right behind the camera just doing this. Would you like a bite?
I would like a bite.
Are you a good boy? Did you already eat your whole other donut? Hey! That was a very high tax rate. I don't find this as good. Last week's fritter was amazing. I really like cheesecake. And I like sour cherries. And I like donuts. And this was not as good of a combination of the three as I had hoped. It's fine, but this is not, like, award-winning, unfortunately. Aaron says I'm not getting much of a cheesecake vibe. I agree. I am also not getting much of a cheesecake vibe. Let's do it. Let's put the rating in. What are we saying? It really needs a cherry filling to make an interesting donut. I want the cherry filling to be like throughout as opposed to just in the middle. And the cherry filling was awesome. And I didn't think any of the components were bad. I just felt like the ratios were not what I wanted it to be. So I think it's a 3 out of 5. It was fine. I'm not going to not eat it again if someone gave it to me. But I don't think it's a 4 out of 5. And it's definitely not a 5 out of 5. And it's not a 2 out of 5. It's just mid. It's mid. Or as the kids would call it, Ohio. It's Ohio. Which, if you don't hang out with teenagers, Gen Alpha, Ohio is the term now for something that's just lackluster. It's not bad, it's not good. It's mid. I guess mid is another Gen Alpha term. I feel like mid is more understandable than Ohio, but as someone from Ohio, or if you've been to Ohio, I think you do kind of inherently understand what Ohio means as a quality rating. What was the cream cheese part supposed to be? It was like a cream cheese glaze. Yeah, it was a cheesecake glaze, but it was like a little hard on the top, but it is a little brutal, I will say. I'm allowed to make fun of Ohio because I still have an Ohio area code. And I'll forever have an Ohio Social Security number. If you don't know, Social Security numbers indicate where you were born. So... Kellen says you look so cute. Oh, thanks. I do think that probably wearing this many cats really increases the adorableness. I will say the hair looked cute this afternoon, and then I biked an hour in, like 45 minutes in pouring rain right before the live stream, and I was like, well, this is what my hair looks like now. I am on camera tomorrow, so not particularly looking forward to trying to make this into something that is acceptable to be on camera for work. But versus on camera on this channel, that doesn't matter. By the way, we just had a drawing for the giveaway just ended for the planner that I'm giving away. So let's go pull the winner. Maybe they'll be on the live stream. If not, I'll email them. Let's pull it right now. So did a giveaway. It was linked down below. I forgot to call it out. Ready to award. We had 191 entries. And the person that won, what is their name? Oh, I just have their email, but it's voltage.28 is what your email starts with, and that's who won. So I will pull that, and then there'll be another winner from my planner Instagram, but I'm going to run that one a little longer. That's for a copy of A Cat's Guide to Money, my book, and one of the Kinbor planners, and I have two that I am giving away. The ones I'm giving away are actually all wrapped up, but it's one of these planners. So that's exciting. I have teenagers and teach Gen Z in higher education. They always crack me up with how they describe things. I know. It does lead me to wonder, when I was in elementary school, all these terms from like the 70s were coming back. Like people were calling things groovy and stuff like that. And then awesome came back, obviously, for millennials, which was like previously like pretty out of favor. So I wonder what I wonder what adults thought back then. I don't know. There were some people that were adults back then. B said, I had no idea SSNs. I'm pretty sure that's why my parents met, because my mom recognized where my dad was born based on his SSN, because they were in the military, so the SSNs were like used. That's the story I've heard, at least. Is, yeah. The heart of it all is by definition mid. I guess that's true. I also thought that Ohio was located more towards the center of the country when I was a kid, because we were in the Midwest and it was called the heart of it all. And then later, when I learned geography, I was like, this is not in the middle. But then I get really offended when people out here say that I'm from the East Coast, because Ohio is distinctly not the East Coast. I think the real thing is, like, the U.S. is huge, and it also has a lot of states. That's what I've really learned from it. But it is both not the center and not the East Coast. It is on East Coast time, but it is multiple states away from the East Coast. So I think that qualifies. I guess it depends on where you're measuring from, because it's only one state away if you're measuring from one of the states. But it touches so many states too. So that's, I guess, why it's the heart of it all. It looked like a lot of bread involved in that thing. Yeah, it was much breadier than it normally is. I should start sending them unsolicited feedback on these. I want the tart cherry filling, but I want it I want the outer coating to be like a fritter. Could they have the tart cherry fritter and then have a hole in the middle and put the tart cherry jelly in it? What do you think, Aaron, as someone who has had both the fritters? Do you think this would work?
I don't. I'm not a donut scientist.
Yeah. Aaron said I'm not a donut scientist, if you couldn't hear it. I don't know if the mic picked it up. I approve too. Maybe I'll just suggest it to them. They're very, very creative with flavors, so they may actually take me up on it or like riff off of it. By the way, we are almost done with the donut log, but we have a backup one. That was a gift that I will use. So thanks, Dad. Dad got me the second one, but all these donut logs were a gift. And this is a great example of a gift that I actually did use. So maybe if I was better at gift giving, people would get these. We've got 2 more pages. I did want to let people know, I don't have a little promo for it on the screen to put up, but I'm doing a Christmas Day live stream because my channel turns 18 years old on Christmas. I made it on Christmas in 2006. I made my YouTube account on Christmas in 2006. So my channel will be turning 18 on Christmas Day, which is next Wednesday. And so what I ended up deciding to do is that I'm going to do a live stream for like most of the day because I'm not doing anything else. And I'm off work. So, and I'm hopefully off work for like a 5-day week, which is great. I do still work on the weekend, but I get like the weekdays off, I hope, if everything goes according to plan. And I will be live streaming making my annual report. A lot of people like to see the data and ask how I do it. And the answer is mostly I brute force Excel and Photoshop into doing what I want it to do. But it'll be a super chill stream. There will probably be plenty of tasty things, and then we'll just chill. Also, Hanukkah starts on Christmas night this year, so we'll probably go at least until sunset, which is like 10 minutes after we're going to start because the days are like 1 hour long these days. But Minnesota is Charlie Brown town. Is Ohio not in Minnesota? Minnesota is in Canada right now. To Midwesterners, Ohio is East Coast. To East Coasters, it may as well be Minnesota. That is correct. Yes. Minnesota is in Canada, I feel like, kind of. Which state borders the most other states? Ooh, I do like this trivia question. It's definitely on the East Coast because they're really tiny. I bet it is, I want to say Virginia, but I also feel like Delaware has like good potential, but it doesn't have very long borders. So maybe Delaware doesn't touch as much. Rhode Island? What do we guess? What are our guesses? We're going to put it guesses in and then I'm going to Google it. Ohio is the capital of Minnesota. Used to be called Minnesota. I like that. Okay. What state borders most states? I never would have guessed it. There's tied. There's 2 answers. Don't Google it. I think a Canadian should win this one. Angela says West Virginia. Okay. I think that's a good guess. It's a really good guess. It's very similar to my guess. Okay. Any other guesses in the chat here? Sophie says Tennessee. Mary says Kentucky. I was originally thinking Kentucky, and then I was like, no, I think part of the problem is like the whole top of Kentucky just touches Ohio pretty much, except for like the little chunk at the bottom, at the side. So I was like, meh, I don't think that counts. Also, like, are we talking about, because it doesn't, I don't think Kentucky has any borders with Indiana technically. I think you have to go through Ohio. Is there any part? Anyway, I don't think it's Kentucky. Okay, I do know. I actually know what it is. Sophie is right. It's Tennessee, and the other one is Missouri. So Tennessee borders Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. And Missouri borders Iowa, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. Okay. Maine is the only state that only borders one other state. And then obviously Alaska and Hawaii are the only two that don't have any borders. Kentucky touches Ohio, but it doesn't want to. I mean, I don't think that's actually true because it's a very net positive for both states to be affiliated with both each other. But I will say that, like, so when I was in high school, I skated in Kentucky. So I spent like a good chunk of my week in Kentucky. And like, since pretty much my whole social circle was at skating, I often feel like I spent more time socially in Kentucky than I did in Ohio. And it was like, there was a lot of making fun of Kentucky from Ohioans. And then like the grocery store I worked at, I had a lot of coworkers who lived in Kentucky and commuted in because it's like I lived right on the border. And there was a lot of attitude that Kentucky was like backwards compared to Ohio. But then Ohioans along the border relied on Kentucky for certainly cheap agricultural products that come in because more of the value-added goods were grown in Kentucky. But the big thing was, if you lived in Cincinnati, you could drive across the border and get cheaper cigarettes, cheaper liquor. The liquor store was open later, and a better lotto because Kentucky has a different lotto system than Ohio. And it's part of Powerball in Kentucky, and which Ohio is not. So, anyway, it was just a sin escape. But a long running joke was that the state slogan for Kentucky when I was a kid was "Where education pays." And so as you drove over the bridge from Ohio to Kentucky, there'd be this huge sign that said "Kentucky, where education pays." And so the joke was it's because no one else has any. But the really dark side of that joke is that Kentucky has one of the highest adult illiteracy rates in the country, and also one of the highest poverty rates in the country. And so it doesn't feel great, does it? Doesn't feel great to make that joke. Kentucky is a silver lining story when it comes to their Medicaid expansion, though. Has had phenomenal positive outcomes in a state where you didn't think maybe they would take the Medicaid expansion. And they did rebrand it. I think it's called Kentucky Cares, maybe. But the Republican states that did take Medicaid expansion, especially ones that have like poor health outcomes in lower income communities and high rates of poverty, the ones that took it and then they rebranded it, people don't even realize that it's Medicaid and it's federal dollars. They just view it as their state taking care of them. So smart rebranding for conservative politicians. So how about people tell me what they're doing this week? I think most people here are US or Canada. Are you working this week? And if you are working this week, are you working next week? Because this year, the federal holidays, which in the US are Christmas and New Year's Day, they fall on Wednesdays, which is sort of the awkwardest time because Like nobody wants to like if you get Christmas off, then if you work a Monday through Friday schedule, like you are not coming in Wednesday. You're not coming in Thursday and Friday, right? Because then you could get a 5-day weekend. But then you're getting Wednesday off the next week. And you're like, do I take the Wednesday off? Do I take the Monday, Tuesday off? It's just a very awkward, it's a lot easier to predict when people are going to take off work. When both holidays don't fall on a Wednesday, because they always fall on the same day of the week because they're 7 days apart. So I feel like this is the challenge for the holidays. B says, I'm just not working on those Wednesdays. I feel like you get 4 short weeks, which is kind of nice in some ways. You get like a bunch of 2-day weeks. I think the other thing is you just like won't be very productive at work if any part of your work involves like coordinating schedules, especially with people outside your organization. Because I am a journalist, we still have to go into work. We're broadcast. We still have to make the news. But when it comes to like longer term or enterprise pieces where it's not like breaking news where I'm like, I need to get them on right now, it has been so hard to get people on the line, especially because I do financial journalism. I often need to get a hold of like academics, and I swear all the academics, they stopped answering their phone on Thanksgiving and they've given up for the rest of the year. I went through like 3 or 4 experts that I really struggled to get. So yeah. Angela says, turn in all my grades and all my reports. So I'm off again until January 13th when classes start again. See, you're the people that I can't get a hold of. But congrats. That's very exciting. I'm very excited for you. I'm very jealous. I'm extremely jealous. I am really trying to I get Wednesday off next week, and I still haven't taken my comp days from September, and I've been working way more than 40 hours a week since September. And so I'm really trying to I have 6 comp days, and I'm trying to take at least 2 of them Thursday and Friday. And originally I thought I was going to have to work Christmas because I always kind of volunteer since I don't have kids and I don't celebrate it. I always volunteer to work Christmas at like every job. But I didn't need to work Christmas. So I thought I was going to have to, don't have to now, which is why I'm doing the live stream. So I think I'm going to get a 5-day weekend because Monday and Tuesdays are my weekend. But it does mean that I have to cram to get stuff done this week because I need like editors to be in town and stuff like that. Tomorrow is my last day that I'm off for 2 weeks. That's the way to do it, Shirley. ADHD Quinn says, I only work Monday, Thursday, and Saturday unless it's a holiday. We never travel for holidays. Wait, so do you normally only work Monday, Thursday, and Saturday? Or next week are you working that? So you're just getting the Wednesday off. I'm working this week and then taking off the next 2 weeks. I like that. I would normally work them though. Work from home is usually nice and slow those days, or on fire. Yeah, that's kind of what I like. If you work from home, then it's like kind of nice to just be like, nah. Going to work when most everyone else is out is almost as good as vacation. Yeah, I will say I enjoy doing radio on when it's just sort of weird energy out there, and it's kind of fun. But one of the downsides is you tend to get like all of these canned stories because you don't have very many reporters on the ground. So if there is breaking news, you're stuck like having to do an awful lot of things, juggling an awful lot of things. So Mary says academics took 2 weeks off, 2/19 to 1/5, and then took the Thursday and Friday off after the first. I'm 12-month faculty though. Teaching faculty are long gone. Yeah, I'm really interested. Okay, so ADHD Queen, you essentially don't get any extra time off. Are you taking Thursday off after Christmas or no? I'm really hoping I can get those 5 days off. I don't know if I could do And then I'm working the Saturday after Christmas on air, but I almost 9 months early requested the day after Aaron's birthday. So Aaron's birthday is a Saturday. And since it's Aaron's 40th and a Saturday and during Hanukkah, we were like, we're going to have a party. We thought we would have a house, but we have a functional enough space to host a party. So I really didn't want to get up at 3:40 in the morning the day after. And I knew I had to get it in early because it's very hard to get, someone has to cover my job. And it's always very competitive around the holidays because all of our fill-ins are working a ton, and we can't have them working 14 days straight. So I was really worried I wasn't going to be able to get the coverage. But I got the coverage for the Sunday. So I'm essentially working a 1-day week next week as long as everything goes good here. Oh, I like that. People want to use their gift certificates for their massages and tip well that week. Yeah, that was one of the things I liked. Even working in coffee, if you worked on Christmas, you would make so much more in tips. Even Starbucks, where the most you would average in tips at Starbucks was $1 an hour in tips, because no one tips at Starbucks really. But on Christmas, especially because most of the Starbucks are closed. So if you went to one of the ones that was open, people tipped. And I think I averaged $20 an hour, even in the tip pool of tips on Christmas. So Aaron says, we don't actually have a functional enough space for a party right now, but that should all change tomorrow when the crew comes to clean and install the railings. I believe in us. It's going to happen. Can you believe that we're a week and a half out from having the party? It seems so far away. Made the list of who to invite on my birthday, which was in July. All right. I think we've been streaming long enough. We will be doing some kind of stream next week on Tuesday, but I think it's going to be from my parents' house because we're going over there for Christmas Eve. So it might not be very elaborate, whatever it is. But I'm going to be doing that long stream on Christmas Day. You can drop in whenever. It's going to be super chill. Probably not even a ton of talking, just something to put on in the background. And just cozy times. If you want to come and hang out and chat, I'm going to be here all day on Christmas Day. And I will let you all know about Tuesday, but the plan is same time. 4:30, but probably only go half an hour and might have some guest appearances. I suspect possibly barky dog guest appearances. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your evening. Thank you very much for coming out. Aaron, John says he commits to vegan beignets. So apparently there's going to be vegan beignets for my live stream next. And I guess I do have to get donuts because I won't keep up with the flavors if so. Interesting. That's a problem. We'll see. Maybe we skip some flavors. I'm very excited about the vegan beignets though. They are pretty good. Okay. It's lovely to see you all here. I hope you have a good week. I hope you don't stress yourself out too much about gift giving. And remember, it's all inefficient anyway. So it shouldn't matter. And absolutely don't go into debt for Christmas presents for anyone. And I hope that you take care of yourself and your finances and your sanity, and you opt out of anything that doesn't bring you joy. And close out your year well. And if you are getting presents, I hope you get exactly what you want. And nothing that you have to figure out how to re-gift. And until next week, stay safe, stay hydrated, pet a cat if you have one available. Enjoy some time off work if you get it. And I will see you all soon. Bye.